So welcome everyone to our APL GO Sunday night training. As you know, Kelly and I love to have unique, knowledgeable, and just cool people come onto our Sunday night calls, right? We don't want you to have to listen to us babble constantly every week. We like to change it up, and we found an amazing guest speaker for this week. His name is Reid. He is co-author of this book right here that we have been recommending to you guys for years and years and years. So I know you all know him, but he's a speaker, an author, and something I learned, a filmmaker, which is so cool. For over 25 years, he's inspired just millions of people through his creative mediums, and he's published over 100 books, and 32 of them are best-selling books. That's incredible. So we are super excited to have Reid with us today.
Got to unmute, Greg.
Yeah, for the very beginning is that I am also probably the least qualified guy to do what I do. And I love to share that upfront and honest with people because I'm dyslexic. I can't spell very good. I can't read very well, and I can't spell. If you play me Words with Friends, you'll win every single time. And I understood the power of you work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. So for example, rather than work our strengths nonstop, I realized that I could build on a foundation that could create so much prosperity that I could afford to hire the people that would play at something I would work at. And by having those combined forces, amazing things and opportunities came our way.
That is awesome. I mean, now I know this was not your first book. What was
you know what? I'm inspired to show you guys something. I never show something, and I'm going to share something with you. It's right here. I'll be right. 1 second. Check this out. When you write a book, you do something called a query letter. It says who you are, what's your message, why are you an expert, who's going to read your book. I was turned down by 268 publishers, agents, printers when I did my first book. And the 269th one said, we'll do it. Just change the title, beginning, middle, and end. I'm telling you, I'm horrible. And so they said, get a ghostwriter. So she crafted my book in a way people would want to read it. And it went on to inspire so many people. In fact, one quote from that book alone was shared 37 million times last year. And people go, there's no way you were turned down all those times. Boom! Here they are. These are every single rejection letter that I got, I kept them. And I use it as wallpaper, what I would literally put up on the wall every time I got a rejection letter, because I would not let another person or myself talk me out of something that I knew to be true. You see, I didn't hope, wish, believe. I knew I was onto something. I just didn't know how to do it. And I realized, again, we can have anything and everything if we work our strengths, hire our weakness, and surround ourselves with people that are getting the results we want. And the most successful people are also the most available. So I went to the bookstore and I bought every best-selling book, and I called those authors and said, teach me. And they taught me their techniques, and I duplicated it. And here we are today. The whole idea is, where could we be tomorrow, especially in this industry, if we surround ourselves with the top leaders who are getting the results that we want to?
And we do talk about that a lot, just showing up. Somebody had asked you that last night or yesterday at our event and said, what is the secret to success, and how is it possible you have all these cool people that you can call and ask to do a Sunday night training? And the answer was, you just got to show up.
Yeah, you got to show up. You got to show up. And I also believe in specificity, and which is a whole topic I'd like to go into. But before that, my mentor taught me a great lesson. It was called the power of illumination. Back in the day at Disneyland, they had these dancing bears, and they sung a song. You've got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. He says, no. He goes, you got to accentuate the positive and illuminate the negative. As soon as you put a spotlight on it, you get rid of it so you can deal with everything at hand. So I'm a single guy. So if I go out on a first date and the woman, comes to the door and I got a big old pimple, first thing I'm going to say is, hey, Kilimanjaro right here. We laugh about it, get out of the way, and I don't have to worry about hiding it for the rest of the night. But it seems like so many people put off those uncomfortable conversations until the very end, and there are other people on the other side are waiting for the, shoe to drop for them to give that information, and they hold it inside. Even myself is, as you know, I've been, diamond in many organizations in your industry. And the first thing I do is I lead with that. I don't sit there and hold that back and let them think about it. I come right out front and say, I got I'm part of the greatest direct sales marketing company I've ever seen. I'm so excited about it. And if you give me 5 minutes, I promise to share it. I won't bore you. If you love it, I tell you. And all of a sudden it gives them permission to put down their walls and actually hear what you got to say.
Hey, Greg, what actually inspired you initially to write this book in the first place?
The Millionaire Mentor one, the first one is interesting, is when I was, okay, that's a different storybook. Okay, so that's 52 books later. So what happened was in 1908, Napoleon Hill was a young aspiring magazine reporter, and he gained the access to the richest dude in the world to write this book called Think and Grow Rich. It was supposed to be a 30-minute interview, turned out to be 3 full days and nights. At the end of the interview, Carnegie says, I like you, and here's an opportunity. He says, work for me for free for 20 years, and you can meet my friends, and you'll write the first ever formula for success. Napoleon Hill reached in his pocket, didn't even have 2 nickels to rub together, says, not only will I accept that, I'm going to complete the task. Carnegie says, you got a job. And then Hill says, why are they going to talk to me? I'm nobody. I'm not connected. I'm just a kid. And Carnegie says, I'll write you a letter of recommendation. When they see it, they'll know I sent you, gave you all the time you want. Sat down with Edison, Einstein, the Fords, Rockefellers, and wrote the 20th best-selling book in history. But what's cool is that Carnegie was a stickler for action and gave his guest only 60 seconds to make up his mind to work for free for 20 years. And when Napoleon Hill said yes, Carnegie pulled out a stopwatch he began in his pocket, and there's 31 seconds left. Napoleon Hill made a life-changing decision in 29 seconds. But here's where it gets cool. Carnegie made that same offer to over 250 men before Napoleon Hill. Everyone else said no, or everyone else said, I have to think about it. That's called the bad case of the one size. I'm going to take action once I get the big break, once I get the kids out of the house. But Napoleon Hill took that momentary opportunity and ran with it. Fast forward 100 years to the date, as you'll see in that book, 3 Feet from Gold, the Napoleon Hill Foundation gave me the very similar type letter, which basically was a Willy Wonka ticket to meet any human alive, to write their stories and books in film.
That's amazing.
That's truly amazing.
That is, yeah, that is an amazing story. But I also want to hear about your first book. So what inspired you to become a writer in the first place and help people with these kind of books?
I am not a writer. I've never written a book in my life. So I got ghostwriters. And so again, what happens is that a person's name who goes on a book is called an author, and the person who wrote it is a writer. It's the same thing. Katy Perry didn't write Firework, but it's the author of that song. Tom Cruise didn't write Mission Impossible, right? So it's the whole idea. It's the same thing. It's my message. It's my words, but it's crafted in a way people would want to read them. So what happened is when I sold my first business for really nice income, people kept asking how I could do it when I'm dyslexic and can't, really read. And they said, well, can you come talk to a local university? And they liked my talk, and they passed me around like a joint at a Grateful Dead concert to every university. And after a while, a kid came up and said, you should write a book. And I go, holy crap, what a great goal. I've never read a book. And so I sat there on a mission as a bucket list. When I was 17, I had a list of 80 items of crazy, impossible things that I had to accomplish, before you pass away. And I'm glad to say 2 years ago, I crossed the last thing of all 80 items. And it was just one of those things I had to get done.
That's awesome. I see a lot of awards behind you and cool pictures. I see Forbes. I see a lot of that. Now, was one of those for filmmaking? Yeah,
I mean, the filmmaking thing was a pure, fluke type thing. I was writing a book called Think and Grow Rich, Stickability, The Power to Persevere. And one of the interviews was a gentleman named Frank Shankwitz, who started a nonprofit called Make-A-Wish Foundation. It grants wishes to terminally ill kids. And during the interview at my Secret Knock event, I asked him, real quick, what was your wish? And he said, no one ever asked me. I go, what? I go, I want to be the guy to grant the wish of the founder of Make-A-Wish. What do you want? And he says, well, I just want my story to be told, so my grandkids know I did something. So he signed over his life rights. It took 6 years and more trials and tribulations you can imagine, but it came out in last year, and we actually were on the ballot, the final ballot for the Oscars. We were Oscar qualified, and now we're streaming worldwide on Netflix, and it's called Wishman. And the moral is that everyone can be a hero. You don't need to be a billionaire or a celebrity. Everyone can give a pair of socks to a homeless person or stop a bully from fighting. And if we understand that one simple act can have a ripple effect, we can literally go on to inspire and impact the lives of folks all across the globe.
I love that. What a great message.
Yeah, I got to tell you how that got started, because people go, oh, it's easy for you. Look, everyone on this call, you never heard of me before you read that book. So same thing, when I called Hollywood, they don't know me either. So what I did is I got started. The greatest thing we can do, like Les Brown says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started, get great. So I ran an ad on a secret website that no one knows about to look for ghost writers for that. It's called The Screenwriter. And someone answered that ad for $25. By the way, the website's called Craigslist. Don't tell anyone about it. It's a secret. And a guy answered the ad, and he ended up writing the screenplay, directing the movie, producing it with me, and he won awards all around the world. And so the whole concept is there is no excuse. In today's world, you have so much outreach. Look, if I'm in direct marketing right now, I'm realizing I'm not trapped to my little city where I'm at anymore. This is a global opportunities that we can reach out to people literally and inspire them so that they can inspire others.
Hey, Greg, if you were dropped off in any city in the United States, would you have the excuse that you didn't know anybody, or the people in that particular area just aren't susceptible to accepting this kind of business? What would you say to somebody if they said, well, the people in my area just don't accept network marketing and this kind of business? What would you tell somebody like that?
Well, first of all, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. I'm just an author and a filmmaker. But if you're asking me personally, I just think it's a bunch of crap. Because the fact of the matter is people are people and there's opportunities everywhere. So a lot of times, and I got in trouble for having this conversation online on a very large television network, where I sat there and says, I believe in the near future, being broke will be a choice. Because if you have to almost choose to be broke because there is so much opportunity. And you can sit there and say, look, I'm in this little small town, there is no opportunities. Again, bull. I guarantee you there's a car dealer in your local town that none of us have ever heard of that's called Jacob McGee's that's famous and rich there. I guarantee there's a restaurant chain, the same thing. I guarantee there's a grocery store chain. I guarantee, well, they did something. And the big insurance guy did something, the real estate person you see on the billboards, they did. So the opportunity was there. The only difference is they found a way to spin it and put themselves out there where they weren't afraid of rejection. Look, Napoleon Hill, when he wrote Think and Grow Rich, the biggest chapter was called The Six Ghosts to Fear. And he talked about fears I disagree with because it was written 100 years ago, like the fear of the loss of love. Oh, come on now. Everyone gets divorced. That's not going to kill you, right? Fear of old age. I want to get old. So I'm not going to buy into those. I believe the three biggest fears of today is the fear of pain. That's why all the drug commercials, the fear of the unknown, like we went through last year, that freaks us out. We can handle, yes, we can handle no. It's that maybe that kicks us in the tail. And the biggest one is judgment. It's the fear of criticism. And the funniest thing is no one's thinking about you. They're dealing with their own situations right now. And if we got rid of that bumper sticker that says, what would you do if you couldn't fail? Hogwash. What would you do the moment you stop worrying about what people thought? Would you write that book? Would you start a business? Would you make a movie? Would you go out and knock on doors? Would you put yourself out there? And those are the people that will come out top again, and that we're going to tell stories about tomorrow.
Awesome. That's a great answer. My favorite thing that you said so far is that you were turned down to how many, 238, or did you say 68?
Yeah, 268 publishers, agents, and printers. And what's interesting about that book, it's called The Millionaire Mentor. That went on to become a global phenomenon. I mean, I'm talking like it went to so many languages. And just one of the quotes alone, like I said, was shared so many different times. And when I did the movie, it was the same exact situation. Look, a first-time unknown producer, first-time unknown writer, first-time unknown director, first time. Who's going to put their major celebrity in my movie? Come on, man. It doesn't make sense. I didn't take it personal. So what I did is I surround myself with people that are getting the results I want. I looked up who won an Oscar, who won a Grammy, who won, a Golden Globe, who's doing this. And I went and had meetings with these people. Again, they never heard of me. That's back to specificity. And they didn't hear me. I reached out to them and they opened up the doors and taught me what to do. And that's where things change. Specificity, by the way, is very important. Here's a newsflash. No one wants their brain picked. No one wants to go to lunch with you. They don't want coffee and they don't want dinner. Yet with specificity, you can open the doors of any opportunity. So if I want to get to the founder of Remax Real Estate Corporation, I'm not going to say any of those type of lines. I'm going to call Dave and say, Dave, I need 12.5 minutes of your time. I'll cover all my own costs to come see you. From the time I open the door till they leave will be 12.5 minutes. I'm going to ask you one question. Why you didn't quit 3 feet from goal. And the chance of him coming down from his office to the break room is 100% because it's specificity. And people don't understand that. That's the big challenge. It's the same thing in this industry. Look, if you sit there and say, I want to buy you lunch, I want to take you out, no one wants to do that. But we sit there and say, listen, I'm sitting on something I believe in, and I think is going to be the next big thing. All I'm asking for you is 7.2 minutes of your time to share with it. And if you don't like it, kick me out of your house. But I guarantee you one thing, you're going to leave with it as excited as I am. Now, all of a sudden, things change. Imagine when I'm on stage, there's 10,000 people. There's a line afterwards, and they say the nicest things. How can I work with you? Be of contribution, be of service. I don't know yet. I don't got 30 minutes for a resume check compared to somebody coming up with specificity. Hey, man, loved your talk. I saw your Instagram. You got 500,000 followers. I make really cool memes. Let me send one to you. If you like it, you'll use me. What was that, 4 seconds? I know who you are, what you do. You got my cell phone, we're in contact. That is the future. And all I can say is for people watching this, find a way to be specific in your ask. The doors will start opening.
I absolutely love that.
That's excellent.
So you said twice now the quote that was shared. How many times? And
it's so ironic because I'm telling you, I'm so dyslexic. I don't want to slash my own quote here, but it's basically a dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down becomes a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. Look, you've seen on every bumper sticker, keychain, I'm the guy who wrote that in the book that was turned down by this many people. So if I would have let these people tell me no, you would never seen that freaking quote. And so the whole idea is the same thing. If I would have taken no for an answer for making my movie, I would have inspired tens of millions of people and doing new ones. So the whole idea is where could we be tomorrow by surrounding ourselves with people who are getting the results, and we started applying it for ourselves. All right, I want to tell a story. Can I tell a story?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, when I did this book, I mentioned it a couple of times, called Stickability. And if you don't have this one, Tina, I'll make sure I send it to you guys. It's the power to persevere, think and grow rich. The first person I interviewed was a guy named Marty Cooper, and he invented this. It's called the cell phone, if you ever seen one of these things. And I remember I was in his office and I said, what does stickability mean to you? And he said, stickability has to be parallel with flexibility. He says, if you're not willing to adapt and adjust, you'll get stuck. And he told the story about a spider monkey. He said, in the rainforest, the spider monkey is too quick and nimble. You can't catch it. It's too wiry. But one hunter figured it out. He took a heavy log, drilled a hole, dropped the peanut inside, and left it at the base of the jungle. The monkey would smell the nut, come down, reach his hand in, grab a hold of it, and his nut becomes fist becomes so big he can't pull it back out, holding onto the nut. Now, all he's got to do is let go, but he thinks that nut is nutrition. Hunter comes by an hour later, captures the elusive spider monkey, with the moral being, are you holding on to your own nut right now? But it could be in the form of that deal or a car or fear or guilt or what other people think. And what we're holding on with dear life, thinking it's saving us right now, like the monkey thought the nut was, could also be the thing that's leading to your own demise. Sometimes we have to have the courage and the fortitude to let go and adapt and adjust so we can live to fight another day. And the next person I sat down with, which is a story I'm inspired to tell you, is Steve Wozniak, the guy who invented Apple computers. He's the guy who actually created everything. Jobs was the salesperson, spokesperson, the visionary, but Wozniak's the guy in the closet making everything. And I sat him down and said, how did you and Jobs create what you did? And he says, we embraced our lack. Everyone listen to me. We embraced our lack. We didn't sit there and say, I don't have, it's small, what we're missing. He says, we embraced it. So what do you mean? He goes, most people run and use as an excuse what they don't got. We ran toward it. He said, when these little microchip processor things came out, they were so expensive, we could only afford one. He goes, Jobs sold his car. I sold my computer, our calculator, we pooled our money to buy one. He goes, Hewlett Packard and IBM would make machines that go from A to B with like 20 of these chips. He goes, I pull away 5 and make it go from A to B with 15. Pull away 5, get it to work with 10. Eventually, I found a way to do it with one chip. He goes, we were not trying to be innovative, cool, aerodynamic, slick. We could afford a chip. He goes, but by embracing that as an opportunity, we found the shortest, cleanest path. And by doing that, we changed the way people do personal computing for the rest of the world, for the rest of their life. He said, where could you be right now in your own business? If you stop the excuses and stop looking at something as the greatest challenge and obstacle, but it might just be your greatest blessing, your greatest opportunity in disguise.
Wow. What a fantastic story. And we do, naturally make excuses for everything not going our way. And, I love the quote, you can either make money or make excuses, but you can't make both. So pick one, right? You're either going to fall in love with your excuses or fall in love with the opportunity, but it's hard to embrace both.
And there's a fine line. I'm going to share with everyone. There's also, I know it's going to sound strange because I'm about accountability and responsibility, but part of this isn't our fault. And I'll tell you the only part why, because sometimes we don't know, because we're not educated, that we have the ability to stop listening to our family and friends. Just like in the book, seek counsel, not opinion. Counsel is based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. Opinions based on ignorance, lack of knowledge. When I went to my family and friends and say, I'm going to write a best-selling book, they laughed at me. They tried to talk me out of it, to protect me, to keep me safe. And they've never written a best-selling book. I went to Mark Victor Hansen and wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and sold 1 billion copies. He said, Greg, sit down. Here's what you need to know. And gave me counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If we would spend our activity only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the day your life would change. Look, I hang out with my family and my friends. I play pool. I go golfing. I play poker with them. But I'm not going to tell them about my new movie I'm making. They don't know. How dare I put my dreams and goals on other people that they're not even capable of understanding? So the whole realities are, you have the key, and I hereby grant you permission to stop sharing your dreams with people that won't appreciate it.
Wow. I'm like, so many nuggets. My piece of paper has notes everywhere. And I love
I haven't even started yet. So
keep going. We're in. You got all
it's interesting because along this quest of meeting amazing people, Bob Proctor, if you ever saw a movie called The Secret, so he and I did a book together called Think and Grow Rich, Thoughts Are Things. And we interviewed people, everyone from Holocaust survivors down to, the founder of JetBlue Airlines and UGG boots. And we kept finding out, how thoughts become things. And you know what we discovered? Thoughts are not things. It was wrong. Only thoughts backed by action become things. Everyone here, when you signed up for this program, had thoughts of grandeur, but our reality is determined by the actions in which we took. If thoughts were things, I'd be a slice of pizza because I'm hungry. But as soon as I'm done and I call Grubhub, they bring me pizza, my thoughts become reality. And we sat down with neurophysicists and scientists, and we realized that we have 64,000 thoughts a day. And the realities are, out of the 64,000 thoughts, majority of them are negative. So they're the reptilian part of your brain called an ANT, automatic negative thought. So if thoughts were things and majority are negative, then everything should be chaos and drama in our life, but it's not. It's only the thoughts that we took our action became our truth. How many times have we had $1 million idea in the shower, and by the time we brush our teeth, it's down the drain? 10 years later, it's on a billboard driving down going, I should have. The only difference between that person and you is your butt. That's it. Not the one you sit on, but the people that sit there and say, well, I'd go do that too. And that's what holds us back. So thoughts become things by the realities and the action which you take. And if you think it's slow getting started in your business, one of the people we talked to, and by the way, one of my favorite people at Secret Knock, his name is Brian Smith, founder of UGG Boots. He only sold 38 pair of UGG boots his first year. And everyone tried to talk him out of doing it. Everyone said he was crazy. Aren't you seeing it won't work? And the next year, he only sold like 80 pair. The fact of the matter is, you can never let another person or yourself talk you out of something that you inherently know to be true.
I didn't know that story about the UGG boots. And now everyone has 5 pairs each in their closets. So clearly he knew what he was doing. We
might have to just share them with you so you can come on here and inspire your people. His story is amazing.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, it's so funny. We're talking just the other day, we're doing stem cells together, and we're talking about all this new nutrition and opportunities. It's so interesting. Here's a different viewpoint, at least my viewpoint. When my parents grew up, look, everything was, eat a pound of bacon and, deep fried butter sticks. That was their normal, and God bless it. In today's society, we're more educated, we're learning more every day, but we also have, self-driving cars, and I got a phone without a button. You just touch a piece of glass and it dials it. Right now, as we have access to more information than President Bill Clinton did as president of the United States in our hand. And so I'm going, what else is next? I'm going, well, look, we have all this scientific modern stuff. We have some amazing products and health benefit. Why not use them? And actually, when you're taking them, expect them to work. Most people take everything and they expect the shoe to drop, and then that's what they're looking for, and that's what they get. I believe that the universe is energy, and the more that you put out that positive energy, the more things come. Here's the way successful people think. It's called tapping the source. Now, this is a little woo-woo-y. I apologize in advance, but here's the way it is. The most successful people believe that everything is energy and it's all around us, meaning in the airwaves right now, is there country music? Is there rap music? Is there Beatles? Yes or no? Of course there is. And until you take a receiver and dial it into an exact frequency, you can pull it out from the ethers. It's already here, but you got to pull it down, right? That's tapping the source. Well, if you wanted 100.7 FM, 100.1 won't work. Even though you're thousands into, it's not exact. Well, guess what? The universe works the exact same way, and you have to dial in the frequency to pull it down. That's the only reason why people that aren't as smart as you have more success. That's the only reason people aren't as good looking as you and have better looking spouse. All they know is they know how to tap the source. And I'm going to teach you the secret of how to dial the frequency. Here's how it works. It's the questions in which you ask. Everything is exact. It's like Google. If I sat there and went, Google, show me men's shoes. Could you imagine how many results there are? Compared to Google, show me men's shoes, size 10, red color, leather within 800 feet of my vicinity. It's going to give me a very narrowed focus of what it is. Unfortunately, here's what people say. God, why does this always happen to me? Hold on a second. This is why, you dumbass, and gives you more of that. It sits there and say, when's this going to go to hell in a handbag? Hold on a second. Tuesday at 4. Because that's the questions you're asking. But the most successful people, you know what they do? They sit there and say, how can it get better than this? What's an opportunity and a solution that I'm not seeing right now? Who's in my sphere of influence and contact I could call right now and have the answer to my challenge? Guess what? All of a sudden, those things start magically appearing. That's where the quote comes, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. When a student's ready, a teacher appears. It's already within our sphere of influence. It's just time to change our questions and put the energy out there of success so that you get it. Every time I make a sales call, you know what I say before it? Everything went my way. That's it. Everything went my way. And then I pick up the phone and make my call because that's my expectation.
We're writing. We're quiet because we're like writing.
All right.
Like crazy.
I'll keep going.
That's awesome. Keep going.
This is the follow-up, by the way. I don't know if you ever saw it, but Sharon Lecter, when you're done with this is our follow-up book. It's called Success and Something Greater. This is the last book Napoleon Hill was supposed to write before he died, by the way. And he never got a chance to. So they gave it to Sharon and I as our swan song, as our last little collaborative to do here. And for the entrepreneurs that are watching this, which all of us are, I'm going to tell a story. By the way, I don't know why. I'm just being told to tell certain stories, so please bear with me. And when I was doing this, I was sitting in Sharon Lecter's home. And for those of you who don't know Sharon, she's an amazing human being. Just really a neat person. She wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad with, Robert Kiyosaki. She wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women, Outwitting the Devil. I mean, just amazing projects. And we were sitting in her house doing a mastermind. And I'm a very big believer of mastermind groups. I mean, it's just something I do. Tina, I've invited both of you guys to come play with us. It's a whole different energy with the sphere of influence that we hang with, and everyone's invited to come. And so the whole idea is, how do you surround yourself with these amazing people? And we're sitting in our living room, and there's a gentleman named Fred. I don't know dinkity-dink about Fred. All I know is we're having a conversation on the couch, and I go, Fred, what was one of your biggest discoveries? He's a little older guy, and he goes, I invented the jet ski. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, the two-person sit-down jet ski. I go, holy smack, that's amazing. He goes, yeah, I sold the patent for 75 grand. And he started talking about something. And I go, Fred? He goes, what? I go, I need to unpack that a little. I go, what the hell are you talking about? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I invented a jet ski. I sold the patent. What do you want to know? I go, do you not know that's $1 billion brand? He goes, yeah. Because every time I'm on the freeway and people are driving by their trucks and pulling behind, I go, that's my idea. I go, but you sold for 75 grand. And he goes, I did. And I go, man, that's just got to eat you just alive every single day. And he goes, Greg, no. He goes, at that time, that 75 grand was all the money in the world to me. I was about to lose the family estate that's been in my home for generations. He goes, I saved the house. And he goes, more importantly, my employees, I couldn't pay them, and I got them caught up. My taxes too. He goes, it was the first time as an entire adult I slept all the way through the night. And he goes, I remember I was rummaging through the attic. I had some free time, something I didn't know. And I found these little metal die-cast cars I played with as a kid. A buddy of mine was a NASCAR driver, so I put his number on the side and I gave it to him. He said the other drivers got angry in a good way because they wanted one too, so I made it for them. Finally, NASCAR came to me and just bought the rights outright for $151 million. And he says, as an entrepreneur, it's okay to do a deal in order to get you through to do another deal.
That is very well put. I'm right.
Yeah, I should go into this business. Maybe I should become a motivational speaker.
You're doing great. You're on a roll, Greg. You're absolutely.
Look at the dancing clown. So it's really interesting doing all these books and products and traveling around. And by the way, the foundation, I drove them crazy because, you know, Napoleon Hill was this astute, you know, dress for success guy. And I'm just like, hey, I'm just kind of a wacky Del Mar skateboard riding guy. I mean, I'm just me. And it was kind of cool because I think I could add a twist to these stories in a way that other people couldn't see. And when we wrote 3 Feet from Gold, as you saw, I'm a jerk the first 3 chapters. And because it was very real. And that was a part of who I was in my 20s. So I wanted to capture that. And by the way, here's the answers to all your guys' questions. Mia was a composite of my 3 ex-wives. So the first wife, when I got divorced, my high school sweetheart, where Jenny and I went to school in Bonita Vista, when we got divorced, I basically said, hey, I'm going to leave the house. When I come back, anything that's left is mine. You can have everything else. And she took every light bulb, every nail. And I thought it was funny. So I wrote it, that happened, right? And then the second one was a 7-month marriage, which is in the middle part. And then at the end was my last wife, Alan, and it was actually Kauai, not Fiji, but it was that same circumstance. Mr. Buckland is a composite of my mentors, many of them, but primarily Charlie Tremendous Jones. And he was 6'5", 6'6". And every time I'd see him, he wanted to give me his jackets. And I go, Charlie, I can't wear you. And I'd be like drowning in these little, I'm 5'7", but I'm a little tiny guy. And it's like, but it was like, I like his puppet or something. And so I wanted to make sure I put that in. And then David is a composite of all those suffering that have gone through different forms of recovery. And I happen to be 33 years sober guy. And so I wanted to put that in there. And I did it from a place where, you know, not everyone gets out alive. And I didn't want it to be soft and easy. I wanted it to be where the average person that doesn't get out, so they could see themselves or a family member in there to still love them up. It doesn't mean that you have to, again, counsel and opinion, give them all your time and attention when they won't help themselves, but to make sure that you're there when they are ready. Pretty cool, right?
Very cool.
Very cool.
So I did want to ask you about your Secret Knock group. I know that we are super excited to come and spend time with you in September, but will you tell these guys what that's all about and how you created this and the importance of the connecting that you make in this incredible group?
Yeah, so it's interesting. People kept coming up to me when I'm writing all these books, meeting these people, saying, how do I meet your friends? Here's a little inside secret. When I did 3 Feet from Gold, I invited 309 people to come with me on the journey, and no one ever came. So think about that. When I wrote 3 Feet from Gold, nobody came. Even my neighbors that were next door, I said, hey, I got these people. No one would ever come. Everyone had a reason why they didn't do it. And so after it became a global phenomenon, people said, how do I meet your friends? And so I said, I'm going to start a little event in my living room. And I invited 12 people. And they said, do I need a ticket? And I go, well, it's not a real event. I go, just do the secret knock, bam, 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 as a joke. And that's how it became. Well, they left and started telling their friends, so much so it's been 15 years. And now we are Forbes magazine, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur. We're teaming up with Success magazine right now as a collaboration with this next one. And Yahoo just did a report that we're the top event in the entire world for networking. And the way we did it is that the rule is be cool. That means there's no name tags. Treat everyone normal. If water runs out on your table, don't go, get out your ass up and go get some water and bring it back. If trash is on the floor, throw it away. Be freaking normal. And what happens is, imagine 300 of us like-minded people hanging out, and you will be sitting at a table with millionaires and billionaires, and you just won't know. And until you reach out across the hall and the table and say, hey, what's going on? How can I be of contribution? Whatever your thing is, that's where everything starts happening. So Secret Knock, we're doing September 21st to the 23rd in San Diego. The way you go to secretknock.co and fill out an application. Just put in that you were referred by this group. That way you don't have to go screening and all that stuff. Because if it's an invite only thing, so you can only go if you know somebody. So just say you're referred by this group. It costs thousands of dollars to go, and we will not tell you where it is or who will be there. You just have to trust us. And we just tell you the city, state, date, so you can make plane reservations. Then right before, we'll leak the location. And last time we did it, we brought in President Vicente Fox. And I remember he came on stage, he did want Secret Service. And I go, let's start our interview slow and we'll work our way up. He says, okay. And I go, I understand you're building me a wall. Hey, I want to say thanks for that. And he goes, you son of a... And then he started telling the story about his buddy George Bush that came to his hacienda with Colin Powell and tried to convince him to go to war against Iraq, and he couldn't convince him that this gas was in the, and it was interesting hearing from a world leader of how it was done. We did a private Skype with Edward Snowden, you know, the famous spy in Russia while he's in hiding, getting directly information from him. And what's cool is that we get to bring all these people together in a very like-minded fashion, but we don't want looky-loos and people, you know, peeking in if they're not invited. So that's what Secret Knock is. Trust me, it's one of those things that you're going to leave and go, what just happened? Because it is quite, and we haven't been able to do one for the last year. So we're going big. It's only 300 people, 266 tickets are gone, but just so you know, but it's only 300 people, and it's like nothing you ever seen. Okay. Can I tell another story?
Yes.
Of course.
So I did this book here. It's called Wealth Made Easy. Now, everyone should download this Audible. Don't read it, just download it. Wealth Made Easy. It's a great, great Audible book. And by the way, this is one of my ghostwriters. I actually put his name on it, Gary Krebs. And Gary Krebs is the former publisher of McGraw-Hill Publishing Corporation in New York. Who can write a better book? This knucklehead or that guy, right? So surround yourself with the world authority experts and let them work, you know, work your strengths, hide your weaknesses. Okay. So when I was doing this, I interviewed people worth $100 million to $1 billion. And I'm going to tell you a few of these stories because when you see how simple this is, you're going to go, dang, that's too easy. First guy, Brian, $1 billion in land. I go, how in the world do you make $1 billion in dirt? And he said, time plus dirt is wealth. I go, explain it. And he says, I look for a town anywhere in the world that's growing at 25% a year. Go on Google Maps, it's free. I find Main Street, Broadway. I draw a line out with a pencil, 8 miles, I buy the dirt. I rent that dirt to farmers. They pay the lease, it's free to me, and I get vegetables for years. The town grows at 25%. It's up on my plot. I'm on Broadway. I own the biggest amount of land. I resell that to Costco and Walmart for 800 times what I paid, $1 billion, done. The next one I would go to, Mr. Lamborghini. You guys ever heard of a Lamborghini? And I said, how did you guys make all this wealth and prosperity? He goes, that's easy. All you got to do is create a product, good service that people save their money to happily put in a bag and hand it to you. I go, what? He goes, you've never seen a commercial or anything. He goes, we create something people want and they stand in line to do it. And I go, give me an explanation. He goes, Greg, no one's going to save their money to buy your book. He goes, but they're going to cash in their 401k to drive my car. He goes, you're not going to spend $4,000 a night to live in your own apartment, but you're going to cash in the family vacation fund to go to Anaheim and give it to amounts with big ears. He goes, if you can create a product, good service, or experience, hence Secret Knock, where people will save their money to happily hand it to you, that's where the miracle happens. And the value exchange is so big, they'll go on and tell everyone else, you'll never need to advertise. Pretty simple, right? The next person I sat down with, if you're a sports person, I like your angle right here. He's going, I like these. And I did. Jason Steiner of Steiner Sports. If you ever saw sports memorabilia, it's from this guy, Jason Steiner. And in 2007 and 8, when I was doing 3 Feet from Gold and all the calamity going on, no one was buying autographed footballs and baseballs. They're all broke, right? And he says, so I found a solution around it. He says those plexiglass little boxes, I could get them like on Alibaba for 50 cents. and I could sell them for 20 bucks to people to put their ball in. He goes, I was making more per capita selling the empty cases than I was selling the memorabilia. And he goes, then one day I had an epiphany about dirt. Again, the dirt story. Sometimes success is right underneath our feet, by the way, is the moral of this message. And he says, if I had a pair of Derek Jeter's boots, he goes, they're worth $1,000 bucks. He goes, but if he autographed them, it's 2,000. He goes, but I realized if there was dirt on those boots, I could sell them for $10,000. The extra money was the dirt. And he says, all these coliseums were starting to tear them down to put new ones up. So I went in and I bought all the dirt. He goes, I put it into ballpoint pens, put them in all these different things. And guess what? He goes, I made $50 million 1 year just selling the dirt that they were going to haul to the dump.
Wow.
That's
But the
wonderful.
best story I'm going to share about this one, and this is the little holy grail. If you're going to write something down, by the way, I'm giving you a heads up. This is it. I'm going to give you gold right now that I wish that I would have learned when I was a kid. This is it. If you're waiting for your golden gem, your golden nugget, this is it. Here we go. CPC. It's an acronym that stands for clues, patterns, choices. This moral is about accountability and responsibility for every single thing that happens. It's your fault. And it works like this. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a single guy, 57 years old, single ladies, you know where to find me. And let's say I go out on a first date. The woman happens to be 20 minutes late. Anything could have happened, anything. But there's a little red flag. That's the clue, the first C, right? Now, if I go on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th date, and every single time she's 20 minutes late, that forms a P, which is a pattern. Now it's my C, choice, whether I deal with it, I yell at her, I break up with her, but it's not her fault. She's just late. Stop trying to change people to fit in your own paradigm. Here's a news flash. No one wants to be changed. How many times, though, have we seen someone with a bad reputation in business? They'll cheat your best friend and you do business thinking, oh, it'd be different for me. Things go wrong and you're mad at the person. You saw the clue, you saw the pattern, you made the choice. It's the same thing as seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister. You go to pet it, get bit, and you're mad at the snake. Looking back, rarely will we be angry at the relationships that didn't go good or the, business practices that failed. We're just mad that we stayed in too long because we saw the clue, we saw the pattern, but we made our choices late. The only thing that separates the millionaires, billionaires, the visionaries is they're constantly looking for those clues. They're following the patterns, but they make their choices right there on the spot.
You are right. That is gold. Right.
Hey, by the way, everyone is saying stuff. I haven't looked at any of these things. Okay. Hello, everyone. Favorite quote. We have that right here. I don't know what that quote was, but I hope you enjoyed it. And specific direction. Okay. If someone's putting their phone number in here, I think it's a single gal. I like that one.
All right.
Exactly. I don't know how this is going, but I like your group so far. Boom, ticka,
Well, I know I'm actually almost speechless. My head is spinning with so much information, but I don't want to forget to ask you about the 12-week. Shannon was telling me about it, and I'm so excited for it. And I think this team is going to be excited for this. You did a series, chapter by chapter, with.
I get what you're leading me at. Okay, this is
love to hear about that.
Yeah, so Sharon Lecter and I just recently finished an 18-week course. It's an 18-module course. It's not 18 weeks. It took us 18 weeks to do it because it was a lot of work, but it's just 18 modules. And what happened is we took 3 feet from gold and made an action guide around it. And then what happens is we break down each one of these modules where Sharon and I come on and we actually talk about our experience and what we discovered through that topic. And then there's a workbook for you to, or an action guide for you to work through as you go through the process. It's phenomenal. It's the greatest project I've ever done. And it's going to be, it's not even out yet. We've just finished it literally, and we're we're editing all the tapes and things of this nature. We had a little mastermind group that went with us on this journey. And it was one that, again, you look at a possibility out of a negativity. Last year, us being shut down, I never would have had 18 weeks of sharing lecture time and us to have this if I didn't have this opportunity. And now I believe this course will inspire millions of people, and it will be coming out. So the second it does, I'll give you the link and you can share it with your tribe. It will blow your mind because it goes down to the power of energy and synergy. And Sharon and I don't agree on everything, which is great. And you'll love that banter because, you know, she'll look at something like, you know, sexual transmutation and she sees it from a different way that I do, but we're both sharing our experiences from our own experience, which was pretty unique.
I actually, the minute Shannon told me about it, I was like, okay, where do I get it? How do I get it? Tell me more, because I think what we're going to do as a group is go through it for the 18 weeks.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. You'll absolutely love it. And I'll make sure that I can get Sharon to jump on to and go through this process a little bit. And if you guys want, as you're going through that, if you do, I'll see if I can get some of the people in 3 Feet from Gold to jump in once in a while, like my mentor, David Corbin, and some of these different people that were part of that journey, and go from there. Unfortunately, like 5 of the people in there have passed away since we've done that project 12 years ago, 13 years ago. You know, one of my favorite interviews I did on that one was Truett Cathy, founder of Chick-fil-A restaurants. And if you ever got to that chapter, I sat him down. I go, Truett, I go, I want to be a billionaire like you. I go, what do I do? And he got mad right in my face. He goes, stop planning. I go, what? And he goes, stop planning. I go, well, that goes against everything we've ever learned and everything we ever taught. He goes, well, last year you had a lot of plans. I go, yeah. He goes, how'd that work out for you? He goes, you hit a goal from time to time because you're scrappy. You'll find a way to get it done. He goes, but look for and capitalize on unexpected opportunity. He goes, if I'm on my sofa and I want to get to the end of the street, I get off my backside, take action, I move towards my goal. A planner is going to plan every step, or they're going to pause, take a break. If a sprinkler comes on, it freaks them out, they run back home. He goes, I'm looking for opportunity. Did a kid leave a skateboard or a bicycle out I could borrow to make my journey short? If a neighbor drives by, I'll hitch a ride. He goes, either way, I'll get to my goal. I'm just not so caught up in exactly how it has to happen. So right now, for those watching this and participating in this amazing group and organization, look, things are shifted up. They're shifting back again. So we're going to have to readapt and readjust again. But the fact of the matter is there might be a golden opportunity that we never looked at. Napoleon Hill talked about the power of collaboration over competition. I'm going to share what I'm doing, not what you should do. I'm going to share what I'm doing so you can see it. I'm calling every one of my friends that are in the speaker industry that do events, and I'm inviting them to come be a speaker at my event. And I'm sitting there and saying, look, I'm done competing. I'm going to start making friends with these people, because one of the greatest quotes by Abraham Lincoln says, you destroy your enemies by making them your friends. And I'm going to start having that attitude of gratitude where I reach out to these people. Imagine if you're a strip mall and there's a pizza parlor and a liquor store and you both hate each other and you fight over the parking spaces. What if you put that aside and you met in the middle and said, hey, let's have a new things. Things are reopening around the world. Let's do this. Let's not compete anymore. Every time someone comes in and buys a fancy bottle of wine, will you give them a discount for 50% off a pizza? And I'll tell you what I'll do. Every time I deliver a pizza, I'll give them a discount for your wine. What would happen by that simple act? Just recently, I ordered again Grubhub, and it was a local restaurant, and they delivered it. And guess what? Inside was a coupon for 50% off my first time ever of house cleaning. What a brilliant idea, right? And I'm like going, holy smokes. But this is the way of the new economy. And I don't have the answer for you, but I guarantee if you put your gun down and start thinking about it and going, what can I do now to go out and collaborate with some of my friends and alliances? You'll see that opportunities are right around the corner. All right, I know we're going to wrap up. Is there any last thing I can do?
Yeah, yes, I'd love for to unmute everybody. I know our leaders have some questions for you, but something kind of clicked in my head when you were saying about planning, that he told you stop planning. Now, because network marketing, there's a debate, scripts versus no scripts. And I don't like a script only because then if you have a script and the person doesn't answer the way it is in the script, then people get flustered and, well, they didn't say this, so now I can't say that. I'm a big no script person. Is that when you say stop planning, things are going to go the way they're going to go, adjust and learn as you go? how do you feel about having like word for word scripts given to the teams that are out there trying to do this industry?
I believe the same answer, exactly what you're going to say, is that yes, you give them a script. It's like driving 10-2, yet no one does it. As soon as they're done, they're putting on their lipstick and changing the music, right? So the fact of the matter is, for new people that are nervous and scared and don't know what to say, I think it's a great tool because it gives them something. But for the people that are comfortable in their own skin and truly love their product, I don't mean they like it. I'm not talking about passionate. I'm talking about they love their product. Then they speak from the heart, because people will feel that. And I think that's the evolution of it. So every time I've ever been part of a network marketing company, I've never memorized the script. I've read it, I looked it over, and I got the nuggets and the bullet points. And then I told it in my own spin so people could feel the joy and, the way that I feel about it, and so that they could adopt that as well. All right, let's open it up so people can ask some questions. I got another 15 minutes or so, and then my son.
I have a good one for you, Greg. This is Sherry up here in Palmer, Alaska. And I always wanted to know, what was that like when you felt like you were younger, the nerdy you, and you were going up and just penetrating yourself into all these people to talk to, because that's just the way you did it. And then you found out later through going and talking with these people, a calmness. About when did that happen?
I think after I got my sea legs, it's like anything else. It's like knocking on the doors and doing some cold calls, right? It's scary at first. It's the unknown. Yet afterwards, I realized I started doing something different. And I know this is going to be counterintuitive, but it goes in alignment with what we were talking about. I decided not to do any research on anyone I met. And the reason is I didn't want to repeat the same stuff that was already asked. And I thought that was very powerful. And the favorite interview of 3 Feet from Gold is one I guarantee you wouldn't know, but it was the biggest one I did. And it was the guy who started NASCAR and really built NASCAR, Mike Helton. And it was the greatest interview because I flew. I mean, I didn't have the money at that time. You guys read the book, and I cocked my Rolex watch. I went all in to go meet this person. And when I showed up, it was in his office, and there was TV cameras and crew and all this different stuff. It was so much bigger than I had no idea what I was getting into. And he sat there like this, the big old 6'5" guy, John Wayne character. And we were having this interview, and it just was going, it was just horrid. And so in my brain, I switched and I go, Mike, and he goes, yeah. I go, I'm done. He goes, what? I go, I think I just wasted all my time and the last of my money to come see you. I go, I'm really disappointed in myself. I apologize. I probably should have learned something. He goes, oh, okay. And I stood up to start taking off my microphone. He started taking his off. And I go, Mike, let me ask you a question. He goes, what? I go, when you got that first cardboard $1 million check, you know what I'm talking about? I go, yeah. I go, what's your mom say? And she goes, you know what? She told me to take out the trash. She goes, she didn't give a crap. She goes, but my dad. And he sat down and he started telling this story. And my uncle came over. And then all of a sudden things changed. And then he reached in his pocket and he pulled out that tattered piece of paper, the Cowboys Ethics, right? Code of the West. And everyone in the room gasped. I wish I could, it was, and I go, what's going on here, right? And this piece of paper literally was like tattered. And I opened it up and it was like stuck together. And he goes, every single day, I brought this with me. This is how we create NASCAR. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, when we were doing the Winston Cup, kids were coming out. They weren't smoking, so we changed it to Tide. He goes, we had other brands and we had switched from family to M&Ms and things of this nature so that everyone could enjoy it. And it was like, say less, speak less, but say more. Ride for the brand, do what's right. And he goes, this is what created NASCAR. And we had the greatest interview. And when I was walking out, the vice president of NASCAR pulled me aside as we're walking outside. She goes, Greg, she goes, I've been working next to Mike for 25 years and I never knew he had that in his pocket. And it was one of the greatest little ahas. And I was so grateful that I didn't do a deep dive to ask him the same old stuff that everyone else did. Yes, Julia.
Hey again, Greg. So I noticed you really are very much an intuitive and you're speaking from intuition and you're talking a lot about tapping into source. Would you say that that's really something that guides you every single day? Is that something that you've been honing? Where does that come in? It's really powerful to me.
We all have it. The only thing I do different is I listen to it. Let that sit in for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I hear you.
Yeah, because everyone has it. Everyone does it. Every single person here has said that they drove down the street and one day just decided to go down another street for no reason, and they found their high school friend that they haven't seen in years, or whatever it is, right? Everyone's got one of these stories. The only difference for me is I follow that intuition. I believe that the world is conspiring to help me. So this is my post-it note that's on my thing all the time. People love and support me always. This is what I believe that's right. And then this one says, do what's right always. If you have to wonder if it's right or wrong, it's wrong. Next question. Yes, Jenny.
So I was wondering if you could go back to 10th grade, 11th grade, to yourself back then, what would be one thing that you'd tell yourself to do differently?
Get a prenup with that first wife.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, the simplicity of surround yourself with people that are getting the results you want. Stop listening to the talkers. You know, all these Instagram guys leaning against the Lamborghini, or go hang out with Lamborghini. It's so extreme, the difference. Look, when I went to Pamplona and I went running with the bulls, where you actually run from the bulls, I did not ask some of my, dope smoking friends on the beach how to do it. I found the person who wrote the definitive book. And I said, hey man, I want to go run with the bulls and not get killed. What do I do? And he says, oh, that's easy. On the second turn, go 700 feet, stand right in between the street. The bulls will run to one side, people trample the other. You can even take a selfie. You'll have a great time. Boom, that's where I went. When I went to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I found the Sherpa that I climbed it 900 times. Wherever they put a boot print, I put a boot print. That's it. All I understood the power, surround yourself with people that are doing what you want, and you can do it too. And I'm going to add this word, today. Meaning, like Gene Landrum's a good friend of mine who did Chuck E. Cheese, but he did it 40, 50 years ago. I'd say, who's Mr. Beast or Five Guys or In-N-Out or whoever's the hot trend? And I'd ask that person how they're doing it, because they're doing it in today's economy. So surround yourself with people that are getting the results that you want for yourself today, and eventually you could do it too. But I spent too much time listening to people who told me they could help when they really couldn't. Next question.
All right, I'll ask it. If you had just a weekend to yourself, Greg, and you're not writing all your books and doing everything, and you had no commitments whatsoever, what would we find you doing?
I have a lot of free time, just so you guys know. I run 6 different corporations, but I don't work in any of them. And so I have a lot of free time. So every single day, I play football, I play pickleball, I play tennis, frisbee golf or disc golf, ping pong, pool. I'm a big believer of playing games still. I skateboard every single day, still at 57 years old. And it's interesting. I do it for personal reasons and also for business reasons. I'll tell you this, as I believe in the games that we play, and how you play games is how you play life. So when someone comes to my home, the first thing I'm going to do is put a ball in your hand. The first thing, because I'm going to challenge you to a game, because I want to see how you're going to react. The bottom line, are you a gamer? Are you going to step up and step out of your comfort zone? If you play and you lose, are you going to pay a bet? Are you going to complain? Are you going to cheat? Are you going to go and whine about it? Or are you going to step up and talk some smack? I'm going to learn every single thing I need to know about you in a matter of 15 minutes. So I'm a big, firm believer of playing games, because like I said, how you play those games is how you play life.
Oh, I'm glad I asked that question. That was a good one.
Great answer. Okay, new thing on our agenda: pool.
Well, it's
shuffleboard.
Yeah, if you literally, I come to the house, you're gonna see. I think you guys are coming to the mastermind. Everything's gonna be set up. We're gonna have cornhole thing. You're gonna be challenged at everything, because that's who we are and that's how we do. And I have a money tree that's as soon as you walk in, it's a big money tree and it's full of money from everyone that lost their bets. And so when people come over, I go feed the tree. That's how I invite you to come to my house. Feed the tree. So I want you to come over and feed my tree.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, you have spent so much time with us tonight. I mean, I could listen to you for another 3 hours, no doubt about it. This has been so fantastic. I can't thank you enough. I do have a thank you gift in the mail for you. So watch for that. And I do look forward to meeting you, spending some time with you. And if you come out here to Arizona to visit with Sharon, please let us at least take you out for dinner for like 12 minutes.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go out for a good dinner. And it's really cool that we have mutual friends like Steve Sims and some amazing people out there. You see the tribe we run in. It's a no BS, straight to the point, cool, no pretense. That's what it is. All the speakers, the people I hang out with are cool. I always say, don't come to my event for them. Come for the other people we're going to meet with, because we're all of like mind. And TTE, again, is talk to everybody. Everyone you meet is going to know something you don't know. Everyone, no matter who they are, what circumstance they are, talk to everyone. And I'm going to end with this, and I got to fly. The fact of the matter is, I do not know every single person, obviously, on this call, but I do know this about you. For years, everyone comes to you for counsel, for the great advice. You know why? Because you're a leader. But it's time to get selfish. You draw a line in the sand and you step across and you say, it's my turn. I love you, family. I love you, friends. I've been taking care of you. I'm going to start taking care of me. Things are opening. It's a new world, and new opportunities, new economy. I'm going to start taking advantage of it so I can be of value to others. You draw a line in the sand and you step across and say, it's my turn. I'm tired of watching other people not as smart as me have more success. That day ends today. You draw a line in the sand. And when you step across, you say, it's my turn. Just like Les Brown says, you've got to fill your own cup first and then feed the world with that flows over. You draw a line in the sand and say, it is my turn. I'm not going to die with that goal, that dream, the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm not going to take it to my grave. You draw a line in the sand and you say, it is my turn. I've got an idea that will inspire many. I've just been afraid to bring it out and give it life. You draw a line in the sand and you do illumination and you put a spotlight on it because you are special and you are great. You would not be on this call right now in this room if you didn't have something that other people aspire to be around. So you draw a line in the sand and step across and say, it is my turn. And understand this, Napoleon Hill said it best. Our greatest success, our greatest accomplishment will always come just one step beyond our greatest setback. So when you want to say die and throw in the towel, that's when you kick it in the most. You are special. You are powerful. Never give up, never surrender. You literally could be 3 feet from gold.
Thanks for being on, Greg.
Thank you so much. You are the best. That was amazing. We were gracious enough. Greg sent us some copies, signed, autographed, that we are going to be contesting out this week. So keep track of our Facebook page. Thank you all so much. That was absolutely wonderful, Greg. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a great evening.
Greg.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Like,
Thank you. Good
Wow.
call.